Well, have y'all ever met this singer? Oh, have you?
We can't hear. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Welcome, seniors.
Come
to
on, mic
another
on.
edition
Come on,
of
mic
the
on,
Lotus Zone.
Garrett. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? There it is.
There we
it
go.
is.
There we go.
We had a little technical difficulty over on the board. Look, good afternoon, seniors. How y'all doing? Welcome to another edition, our Tuesday, April 15th edition of the Lotus Zone. Trudy, what we here for?
All right. We're here to educate, enlighten, entertain, and to engage the seniors and caregivers of this show.
So join us every Tuesday. We
At what
here
time?
every Tuesday at 4 o'clock
4
on our Facebook, YouTube, our agency website. Get with us. I see y'all already chiming in. Hey,
Yes.
Miss Sherman, Mr. Sherman, how you
Mr.
doing?
Sherman
Miss
in the
Pat
house.
Williams is in the house. Pat Williams. Good afternoon, Miss Ernestine Jackson, Miss Hattie House, and Miss Comminger.
Hi, Miss
How
Comminger.
y'all doing? How y'all doing? Look, we got a quote for the day. Let's go with it.
All
Today,
right.
always do your best.
All right.
What you plant now will harvest later. So let me tell you something.
I like it.
If you're planting weeds, you're going to grow weeds. If you're planting wheat, you're going to grow wheat. I
What
think
you
they
say?
said somebody in the Bible, you got the wheat and the tare and you separate the two. So make sure you're planting that good crop.
Yes,
That good
I
crop.
like that. I like that. That's a great quote.
See, you ain't know I know nothing about that. Trudy don't think I know the Bible. She calls me
Medea.
Medea, but I know it. I might not know
That's
what book
Medea.
and verse, but I know
It's somewhere around there, right?
it's
Yeah.
in there.
All
there.
right, okay.
All right, seniors, how y'all doing today? Did any of you join us today at the Salt Expo out in Baker?
Woo!
At the Salt Expo. Let me tell you something. We were supposed to have about 500 seniors. It was over 750 seniors in
Yeah,
there.
they
When y'all
showed
see
up.
our good board chairman, Chief Carl Dunn, the chief of police in Baker, y'all give him a high five.
That's right.
Clap him up, Miss Dunn. Because when I tell you they worked today, they
Yes.
worked today.
They did a great job.
They did a great job. And look, let me tell you something. The fish and the chicken was from Chief and DJ, but them red beans, see them red
What?
beans? Y'all missed them red beans today. Red beans with the turkey necks. That's from the COA kitchen. Miss
Yeah,
Jackie Brown.
Jackie
So we're going to give her a
Brown.
shout out. Red beans. We had them
Yes.
greens. We
That-
had
that
them
cornbread. Oh,
all
wow.
that good
Yeah,
stuff.
that was
It was
good.
really, really good. So look, Trudy, what we doing? Boots on the, we reflecting on the boots on the ground.
Wait,
What we talking about? Y'all been
Boots on the
practicing?
ground?
James, Dr. Gilmore, we gonna get on you, but we gonna introduce you in a second. But all our seniors at every center is learning the boots on the
Yes. I heard that voice,
Y'all heard that
huh?
voice?
All right.
We have a special guest today. He will
Yes.
be spending the whole show with us. Our very own, raised and reared by a bunch of you seniors, Dr. James Gilmore.
Gilmore.
The Dr. James Gilmore
Yes.
from Bayard Management and Consulting, from the mayor's office, from the governor's office, from, Dr. Gilmore ain't even fought and been around the world. I've been around the world. I've been around the world. Dr. Gilmore knows how to do it. So,
Yes.
Dr. Gilmore, we're glad to have you
I'm
today.
so glad to
We
be
gon-
on the show.
Welcome.
Hello, seniors. Hello.
We like for you to come on because you going to break it all down for us. You ain't going to be
Yes.
scared. You're going to tell us what A is, what B is. You're going to give us the pure truth. And that's what we want to hear. And so we're going to talk about a bunch of topics today. We're going to talk about upcoming elections, taxes, millages, tariffs, and all of those good things. So
And why is the truth important?
the truth, because it'll set you free.
Woo.
My mom used to tell me,
What?
tell the truth, shame the devil. And the truth will set your whole life free.
That's
Yes.
right.
But
That's
when
right.
when you out here lying and prophet lying, you got to keep it up. You got to keep
That's right.
hiding.
You got to keep note of what you've been saying.
You got to write down the
gotta
lie
write down
so you can
and repeat
remember
it over and
That's
over
right.
and over again.
Repeat
That's
it
right.
over and over
That's
again.
And that's
right.
what we have nowadays, ladies.
Yeah.
Is we have a lot of lies and misinformation that's repeated over
That's right.
and over
Right.
and over again.
Right.
And it's the reason why we are where we are today.
That's
And
right.
does it seem to you, because it feels like this to me, they don't want to educated people. It seems like anything that's going to teach you that you're going to learn, they don't want you to have access to it.
That's
And what
exactly
is
right.
that about? Because it used to be back in the day, they want you to be as smart and bright as you can.
Well, you're absolutely right. Education was something, especially in the African American community, because at one time, we weren't allowed to to learn how to read.
Right.
That's right.
But we somehow taught one another and taught each other how to read.
Then we took over. That's the problem.
Right. And then we had our HBCUs
Yeah.
that were created because we weren't welcome
We weren't welcome.
at other institutions.
Right.
But now you're absolutely right, Mrs. Amar.
Mm-hmm.
We're living in a time now where there are people who want us to be dumbed down.
Right.
They don't want us to be able to think for ourselves.
Right.
Because once you can't think for yourself, and education is the way to empower you to think for yourself.
Right.
Once you can't think for yourself, your mind can be manipulated.
That's right. And you know, Doc, and people mix up education doesn't just mean formal at a school.
Absolutely
You can be
don't.
educated in the matter, in the subject matter. You can be educated on what's going on in your community and what's going on in your country. You can read about the things and the decisions and the policies that they're making to govern us. It doesn't mean you got to go sit in a university's class.
Absolutely
Right?
don't. Absolutely don't. My dad, he didn't go past the 6th grade, but he
you
can
say?
change a motor, and he never had to hire a mechanic. Now with 3 degrees, I have to hire a mechanic.
Yeah,
And look,
Okay.
because you ride around in an electric car. You don't even have no parts in your car. But one good thing about you saying about that, your father had the wherewithal, the wisdom, and the education to make sure that all his children
That's right.
got the formal
That's
education,
right.
That's right.
which is way more important than his legacy and the generations behind him.
That's right.
You
And
know,
I'm thankful. And I'm
Yeah.
thankful
You
that
gotta
he
be
did
grateful
that.
for that.
I'm
That's
very
right.
thankful.
That's
but
right.
but that was to answer your question is that when you hear this attack on education
Yeah.
or attack on books and libraries,
Right.
all that is so that people can have their own minds manipulated.
That's right.
And you know what's funny to me? The book list, the ones that they don't want in the library, the book's been in there 100 years.
Had moved.
And if you wanted to read it, you read it already.
That's right.
You read it already. Plus, we live in a democracy. When you go into the library,
Right.
no one makes you read anything in there.
Right.
You have a choice to read.
What you
That's
want.
right.
Okay,
That's
so if we
right.
want school choice, if we want pro-choice, allow
Right.
folks to have book choice.
That's
and
right.
And so when you talk about banning books, you're eliminating people's ability to have a choice
have
to
a
read what they
choice.
want to read. And guess
Right.
what? Even as there's some arguments that some of the books in the library aren't meant for children.
They
Well,
have
that's
a
why
children's
parents
section,
they have a
right?
children's section,
yes.
and that's why parents say no, you can't read that.
Well, and then it seems to me, because I look at the list of banned books, and it seems to me it's 2 categories. It's either African American studies or positive information or history or LGBTQ stuff. Where if that ain't your thing, what you in the book for anyway?
Exactly.
That's not me. I ain't with how to get on. That's
But those who wanted to have that option.
You have that
Same with
option.
African American
They have that right.
studies.
That's it.
If you
That's
don't
it.
want to learn African American studies, then you don't have to check out those books.
Exactly.
But eliminating those books so that no one is educated on the history of African American, that's so you can manipulate people.
That's
Right. And so do you think, Doc, that is why their focus there, meaning the administration, our federal government, are so honed in and focused on DEI initiatives?
Absolutely.
What is that about?
So DEI, for your listening audience that don't know what it stands for,
Break
it stands
down,
for
Doc.
diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Right.
And I'm fortunate enough to be actually certified in DEI.
Oh, really?
wow.
Yes, I am, and I'm proud to say it because I was speaking with someone earlier who said that there are a lot of people who studied DEI and had jobs in DEI, and they're silent now. And they asked me, they said, James, how all these folks had DEI jobs,
Right.
but they're not out in front arguing for DEI?
Right.
Because
Okay.
they don't have the jobs anymore, right?
Right.
Because most of the DEI people don't look like you, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so what DEI is DEI, one thing that one political party does very well is brand and use taglines in order to get attention.
Right, right.
DEI has been around for decades, and now all of a sudden this year it's so popular.
It's popular.
Okay,
Yeah.
but African Americans, women,
Women.
Asians, we have been moving up in jobs for a long time.
Right.
Okay, we in HR, we have been encouraged to hire people who are diverse for a long time. Why? Because research shows that the more diverse your staff is,
Right.
and that doesn't just mean race
Right.
or gender. It could
That's
also mean
right.
personalities.
Right.
It can mean backgrounds.
Right.
But the more diverse your staff is,
Right.
the more successful you are, as well as the more happier your clients are.
That's
Right.
Okay, because let's be real, there are some people who aren't culturally competent.
Right.
And that's that's an area of DEI. And so if you don't understand how it is to come from South Baton Rouge or Eden Park, you may not be able to teach me as well as a teacher that can relate to me coming from South Baton Rouge or Eden Park.
Right.
And so that's why DEI is important, because DEI gives everybody a chance to be a teacher, not just one type of person to be a teacher.
And so DEI is not necessarily or all included into affirmative action, because some kind of way we've got all that mixed together.
Yeah, well, just to be honest, affirmative action no longer exists.
Right.
If you want to talk about it legally, it was eliminated decades ago, very similar to the movement of anti-DEI. Okay.
Right.
And actually DEI, I'm willing to say, kind of birthed out of the loss of affirmative action.
Got it.
Because affirmative action mandated that you hire or that you take certain steps to hire people of different races.
That's right.
Once that was under attack, corporations then decided, you know what, we still want to do it, except we're going to call it DEI.
We're going to call it DEI.
Okay?
Got it.
We're going to call it not affirmative action.
That's right.
And that's why the powers that be still wanted to attack it, because it had evolved to DEI, and now they want DEI gone.
Gotcha.
And let me be very clear.
Okay.
The people who are of different races, genders, ethnic backgrounds, geographic backgrounds, every job that they apply for, they have to be qualified first.
Right.
There's not one African American person that has been accepted to LSU, a predominantly white university, that did not meet all the requirements to be accepted. Okay?
Right.
And so but again, if you're not educated
and you listen to misinformation,
you would think that, you know,
I could just walk in, I'm black, and unless you going to accept
you, and that's
not, I said so.
That's false. That's misinformation.
Or
you still got to take the ACT. You still got to take the LSAT. You still got to take the medical exam, and you still have to make the score that it requires to get in.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's DEI, and I have faith that this too shall pass.
Yes.
And even something greater is coming.
Right.
This too shall pass.
They knocked us out with affirmative action, and we came back with DEI. They're going to knock us out with DEI, and we're going to come back with something even better.
They knocked us out with the Voters' Rights Act.
They've knocked us out with the Voters' Rights Act. Yeah.
Now, in order to go vote, you're going to have to give a blood sample, it seems like.
So I think
I'm being funny,
this is something your seniors need to know.
All right, seniors, click in and listen up.
You all need to know.
Now wait, Doc. Before you go through that, seniors, this is how I'm gonna know you're gonna be paying attention, because when you call in, I'm gonna ask you some of this stuff that Dr. Gilmore is sharing, and make sure that you have it so you can win these prizes. And on top of that, Doc, we're gonna announce a very special treat that we doing on Thursday for all the seniors. But we got some rules and regs. But all right, so tell them why they need a Thursday special treat.
Y'all better tune in.
You better tune in. Call your friends and tune in. All right, Doc.
So the voting rights in Louisiana, just like across the nation, there are people who have worked and are continuing to work to oppress the vote.
Okay.
To stop the vote, not rock the vote.
Stop it, not rock.
They want people to stay at home. They want people to have to show birth certificates, IDs, passports in order to vote. As it relates to your seniors, this might sound disappointing to you all seniors, but I know you're going to come through.
Right.
I believe that with the voter oppression that we have right now, it may be best to encourage your seniors to show up at the ballot box.
At the polls. Okay.
Many of them, for the convenience of mail-in ballots, often mail it in, especially during the pandemic.
Right.
But times have changed now, seniors, that you may mail in your ballot, but if you forget to date it,
that's right.
If you forget to sign it, if you forget to check a box on it, it can be deemed invalid and thrown in the trash.
In the trash.
And
they don't have to tell you.
And they don't have to tell you.
Right.
60 years ago, whatever on your record, that's what they're going to say we tried to call.
Right.
Okay, to let you know that your ballot wasn't complete. So seniors, I want you to get in your head that
We going
under this administration, and you may want to show up at the ballot box at the polls more so than mailing your ballot, because mailing in your ballot, and this happened as a result of the presidential election where Joe Biden won overwhelmingly, and a lot came from mail-in ballots because of the pandemic.
Got it.
People were at home. And so now there has been an attack on the mail-in ballot because that's so powerful now, and because since the pandemic, so many more people are doing it.
That's right.
And
I mean, they were burning mailboxes in some cities.
Some cities, they were.
Okay, because they knew they were filled with ballots.
Right. So let me ask you this: and here, when you turn it in, I've always gotten the question: can I call and check and see that they get it and did my vote count? Can you do that?
So you can call and check to see if your ballot was received and whether it was counted, but you'll probably have to wait on hold. You'll probably have to leave a message, and they may or may not get back to you in their busy schedule.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying the safest way may be for seniors to go to the ballot box. I'm not saying that, if you have to, you shouldn't use the mail-in ballot. And if you do the mail-in ballot, be sure to
make sure it's complete.
Answer every question and sign and date. But if you can, take it to the polls.
And then before we go to break, explain to us the rule that changed about who can help you with your ballot. Somebody has to sign officially. What is that rule that they changed?
So usually you have to have, the policy is you have to have someone to a second signature to validate that you're the person who completed the mail-in ballot.
Right.
Well, now the rule has changed that in your household, only one person can co-sign on another person's ballot.
Okay.
So in other words, if I live in the house
with your mother,
with my mother and my grandmother, I can only co-sign on one.
Got it.
Because we live in the household together.
Right.
I have to go find someone else to come and sign on the other.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And if you are caught
on two,
co-signing two, it is considered felony and fraud.
Wow.
Yeah.
You hear that, seniors?
You hear that?
So that's why we don't need any of our senior citizens on trial.
Say that one more time, Doc. Say that one more time.
So if you live in the house where you are used to
your caregiver,
signing multiple proof of, co-signing your ballots, only one can sign now in that household. You have to go find someone else to co-sign or to verify via signature, because if someone is caught verifying or co-signing on more than one ballot, it can be a federal crime.
Good question, Miss Pat. Versus mail-in. So evidently she got the mail-in ballot, but now she want to go back to the poll. Is there something that they have to do to change, or can it just show back up at the poll?
You just show up at the poll.
So you don't have to fill out a form or anything.
No, because you have to request a mail-in ballot.
That's right.
And so you just won't request one.
You won't request one.
Now again, folks have been probably more used to doing it since 2019 with the pandemic, so it's automatic that they request one. But if you decide that you're going to go to the polls this November, then you do not request a mail-in ballot. Also, for those of you all that may decide that you're going to move from mail-in ballot to voting at the polls, I highly encourage you to do early voting.
Early voting.
That way you got 5 to 7 days according to what trickery they have with the dates.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Monday through Friday, except Wednesday, except Sunday. Every year it's different.
Right.
But if you decide to go from mail-in ballot to voting at the polls, I highly encourage you to go early vote. That way, if you have an emergency on election day, you're not caught not voting.
Got it.
And when we get back, Doc, Mark Jange from our Perkins Road Senior Center wants to know, do you have any updates on the dangers that PBS and NPR are facing as it relates to, I guess, cuts from the federal administration?
Yeah, and I'm going to make it fast because I'm not the expert, but I do follow this. Yes, PBS, public broadcasting, okay?
Yeah.
It has been around since before Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Okay. Has great documentaries and real but these are under that umbrella that we spoke about earlier, where there's a certain group of people who don't like the documentaries and the studies and the things
and
that
they say that Big Bird is gay. or Ernie or Bert. One
And then
of
you
them.
have the misinformation. No, you're right.
They say
Then
that.
you have the misinformation in order to win their argument. In order to win their argument, you have the
Yeah.
misinformation.
That's
Right.
And so I hate to say this, but they are under threat, and
Yeah.
they'll be under threat for the next 4 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, they'll be under threat for the next 4 years. Now,
Yeah.
will it ever happen? Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
I never thought that I'd be living in a life in a time period where documented citizens would be exported to other
Yeah, so
countries
sad.
Right.
to serve their jail time. So
Right.
I'm not here to say that we're going to have PBS forever.
That's right.
Just
Or
know that it is,
NPR.
or NPR. Just know, yes, they are under the threat list.
Okay, all right. And then Doc, Ms. Williams and Mr. Emerson Slan says, what if they automatically send out the mail-in ballots to seniors in a given parish? Then what do we do then?
You if you are going to go vote at the polls, then go vote at the polls.
Don't
do not
fill out
don't
the
fill it
ballot.
Do
out.
not fill out. Period.
Do not because just because you do mail-in ballot doesn't mean your name isn't on the roll.
That's
your
right.
name's going to still be on the roll.
That's
Right.
right.
Okay, so
Right.
you bring your ID.
So you
with
take your ID to your polling place,
Exactly.
or the
Yes.
early voting location,
Yep.
and you still on the roll, and you can cast your
You
vote,
can cast your
then
vote.
and discard that
and
mail-in
discard
ballot.
it. And I didn't know that some
When we get back, we're gonna talk about why we
Big
in
surprise.
This big surprise.
Yeah.
Why we on this break? You tell your friends to chime in, to get in, so they can get the information for themselves. And Miss Sharon O'Connor, we know we got your Lotus Zone T-shirt
Yes.
coming to you, and it will be delivered to you. All right, we're going
All
to
right.
break.
Council on Aging, serving seniors. Council on Aging, serving seniors. Council on Aging, serving seniors. Council on Aging.
All right, seniors, we are back.
Welcome
Look,
back.
we're having a great show. I see you, Miss Carolyn Wooten. We're gonna put some more answers as it relates to your mail-in ballot in the comment section, so you all look out for the comment section. And Jill is about to put the exact answers, what you do with that ballot if you go in and vote. But we're so glad that you all are engaged. We're on with Dr. James Gilmore, and he is going to be answering some of your questions here shortly. But I want to just clear up for him, Doc. Give us a quick explanation of what is tariffs, how much it's gonna cost us, right? And what we're losing, and why we playing this roller coaster game and making my retirement money go down. Hey, Miss Booker, go ahead.
So seniors, do what you all have always been doing, saving your money.
Save your money,
Save even more so now.
right?
Because we live in a very volatile environment right now, and it is evident of the power of the president. Never before have we had a president to say words that trigger world impact.
Right.
And if it did trigger world impact, it didn't really hit us in our pockets.
Right.
But we have lost a lot of money as a result of the words and policies of our current president. And so the safest thing to do is remember, seniors, save your money.
Save your money.
Yes.
So we ought not be running out buying a bunch of stuff and collecting it,
Yeah.
like the toilet paper fiasco,
Right,
and
exactly.
stocking up our cabinets with all the green beans.
exactly. Or you might not make as many loans as you've made in the past.
Okay,
a lot of
that
a lot of your seniors. I know I got a senior in my family. They think that she's the bank. You might have to sell this year's senior and next year
Tell them
because
kids no.
because
The grandkids.
you might need to save that money because things are going to go up if they continue
Right.
to be as volatile as they are right now. And basically, this current president said it in his debates that he was going to raise tariffs.
Right.
Unfortunately, going back to our education discussion earlier, unless you were a political science major, you probably heard tariffs once or twice
In your life.
education career.
Right.
Okay. Whereas those who in political science or history studied it often.
That's it,
So
that's
we
it.
knew that tariffs meant increased taxes
Yeah.
and expenses on us.
Right,
But
right.
those of you all who might have majored in other things didn't know that tariffs would have that input. And so what the president, I think, is trying to do is he wants to bring more jobs to the United States.
Sure.
And I don't think anyone would disagree with that. We want to have homegrown jobs.
We want to manufacture our own stuff.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that because it
Right.
creates jobs.
Right.
You're supporting your American economy.
That's right.
I think what our president didn't do well is
Roll it
develop a
out.
process of how he should do that.
Right.
And so taxing people who make the clothes that we wear, who make the eyeglasses, who make the medication,
Right.
taxing them to ship their stuff to us is a tariff. And what is Walgreens going to do? They're going to go up on your medication
Because they're gonna.
because now they're paying more for your blood pressure medication.
And when they pay more, they make us.
they're
pay
going to
more.
they're going to pass
Right.
because they have to make a
They're gonna
profit.
pass it on us.
Yeah, they wouldn't be in business if they weren't about
That's
making
right.
profit.
That's
Right.
And so the shoes and clothes that you once bought, they're going to increase because our president is taxing the makers more.
Like China, 145%.
Exactly. Like I read where iPhones could go up to $3,000.
Oh, well, yesterday he called that back. So no tariffs on electronics
Today.
from China.
Today.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
Today
yesterday.
might be something
Tomorrow might be something
Tomorrow,
different.
yeah,
That's my
right.
point. He
Right.
did that yesterday,
Right.
and that's what I mean. Okay, exactly. Go to the Dollar Tree and load up.
and load up.
And I was in Walgreens in Baker. Shout out to Baker.
All right, baby.
And I had a 93-year-old lady behind me. Couldn't tell she was 93.
Okay.
But she struck up conversation with me because seniors are such wonderful, nice people. She just started talking to me while she was in line.
Was
and she said,
flirting, Doc? Because they'll flirt with you. Now. They will flirt with
your
you.
seniors have never flirted with me.
Yeah, right.
Wink, wink. She said, I lived through the Great Depression, and this time it feels worse now than then.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
She said that to me in line.
Oh, wow.
And what I noticed that she was doing, that my grandparents and other elders in my family, she had about 20 packs of Depends. She was stocking up.
She was stocking up. She was stocking up.
She sensed what was about to happen.
Yeah, so
and
she
she didn't
was
go in there and buy
stocking
one pack. She
Right.
bought 20 packs. And guess what? She put out coupons too.
All right.
That's smart right there.
And that's what we need to be doing.
And
sis.
that's what I'm saying is that because things are so volatile right now. And by the way, I'm not here to scare anyone.
Right.
I'm just here to give you the facts.
Right.
And I'm also here to tell you some things you could do, and that's saving, using coupons, and telling people no, you can't loan them money
That's right.
because you don't know what's going to happen with this volatile tariff market.
Right.
And then we'll talk about later on. You got a mayor who wants to add a tax called alimony.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Oh,
on
And
in.
so we
Break
just have
that
to be
down,
very
Doc.
careful.
Right.
We won't give away no prizes though.
Yeah, we're going to
Oh,
give away
Doc
some
won't get
prizes.
I won't give away.
We're gonna give away some prizes. All right. Before we give away prizes. All right, seniors, I've been hinting that I got a special treat for you all. So, Perry, if you could, one of y'all, click in on this ticket. Now, if you go to the senior center, any senior center that you go to, at least 2 or 3 times a week, maybe 4. Well, if you go on a regular, you participate consistently, you are going to get a ticket like this from your senior center coordinator. And what it is, it's a ticket. It says a ticket for a very special treat. Your name is gonna be on it, and we'll get the part with your name, and you'll get the admit one, and that'll be for your treat day on this Thursday. So on Thursday, I suggest that you go. If you go on a regular basis, don't miss Thursday.
Can I get
so
one?
here's nope. So Dr. Gilmore, here's what we gonna do, so that we clear. Everybody that's a regular, I ain't talking about you popping in today and not tomorrow. No, you come on a consistent basis. Your senior center coordinator has that information. We are giving you a special in your senior center crawfish boil.
Yeah, crawfish.
Yes.
Crawfish boil. You gonna get crawfish, corn, potatoes, turkey necks,
Oh, that
and
sound
maybe
good.
some prizes, some cold to drink, and you gonna get to sit in your center with the rest of your peers and
Wonderful.
enjoy. And
That's
so let me tell you
awesome.
something.
That's wonderful.
Surprise,
When is that again? When is
surprise.
that?
This Thursday.
It's right around the corner.
This Thursday. This Thursday. And let me just tell you, if you ain't been going, I'm sorry for you, because the senior center department has created lists with the names on it already. We
Oh,
know
wow.
who go on a
Who the
regular.
seniors are.
If you
See?
don't go on a regular, don't go calling people to come, because it's not going to be nothing for them.
Nope.
It's just for y'all. It's a special treat, and it's our way of saying to you all, we thank you. We appreciate you.
We love
didn't get to
you.
do the crawfish boil, a big one, but we're going to have a big event. We're going to have our boots on the ground, skip day, and you'll get some things then. But we doing crawfish in your senior center.
Wow,
Yes.
Thursday.
Thursday,
awesome,
Thursday,
Tamar.
and that is going to be your lunch. Now, we also
Ernestine
know
Jackson say she go every day.
Ernestine Jackson, you're Miss Jackson. You ain't got no problem. You on the list. And let me tell you this right here too. We know some of y'all don't eat seafood. So for those that don't eat seafood, we have you a special meal.
wow.
The kitchen is frying fresh chicken and some
Nice.
other things, and so you'll get a substitute meal. Now, let me tell you, don't get on this phone and start calling all y'all cousins and your sisters
They can't
because they
get
can't get in.
in.
If their name not on the list, they're not getting a ticket.
This isn't like senior skip day
It's
where
not everybody can go.
exactly.
This is
This is just for those regular folks
regular
who
folks.
support
VIP.
who support the
Our
senior
VIPs,
centers.
I like it,
Mhm.
The
Judy.
VIPs.
They come to the senior
That's
center
right.
on the regular, even when the food ain't good. They come in away. When the beans real good,
That's
they
right,
come.
they
This is a
coming.
special treat for them,
Right.
and we just want to say we thank you going into Easter break. We appreciate you all, and we really appreciate them. So we're gonna cut on. Let's cut the phone on, Trudy.
All right.
And we're gonna take some calls because Doc want to give away some prizes. And Doc, at the end, because we knew you were coming, we got a computer for you to give away.
Ooh.
Great, a computer to give away.
They can call the Lotus on. You're on call with Tasha, Trudy, and Dr. Gilmore. Woo. Turn down your volume.
Yes,
Who we speaking
Hello.
with?
Hello.
this is Barbara from from Dumas House.
Hey, Miss
Oh,
Barbara,
hi,
how
Miss
you
Barbara.
doing?
I'm good.
You doing
I
good?
want to ask.
What
yes,
you want to
I
ask?
Ask a question
Okay.
with Dr. Gilmore.
All right.
Okay, while you're on collecting every month your benefit with Social Security, I
Uh-huh.
want to know if there's a certain amount of money that you have to save, and where they want, take money and that you have to pay the taxes and stuff on.
Oh, so you want to know, do you have to save money? So, but okay, Miss Barbara, before he answers, let me give you your price. We have you Bath and Body Works.
You know you won something,
You
huh?
want something. You want sweet smelling
Sweet
Bath
pea.
and Body Works, and we're going to send it. Sweet Pea will send it to you by the driver, okay? Because we know you're in the Dumas house. We'll send it to you. Go ahead, Dr. Gilmore, answer your question. Thank you for calling.
So I'm not the Social Security expert, but I can understand what she's saying because I have a mom on Social Security, and everyone is different
Right.
because it's based on whatever you get for Social Security, you what your taxes are is based on what your lifestyle is like.
Right.
Okay. And so I'm not here to tell you how much you should save in order to pay taxes. What I would advise you to do is to find you someone, a tax person,
Right.
who knows your situation of your lifestyle, and what income you might have coming in or what other assets you may have to ensure that you don't owe.
That's
Right.
Because what we don't want is our seniors to have to pay taxes
Right.
over the age of 60 if we can avoid it.
Right.
But again, with your retirement and Social Security and those type of things, if you're worried about that, find you someone who does your taxes to give you advice on that.
And let me tell you something. You said something earlier about seniors save your money. Now, you know, all these seniors have had them a big come up here recently, because
I know.
Social Security been dropping extra money
I know.
in their account. So won't you tell them what they ought to be doing with that money?
And in this volatile environment,
Right.
you need to save as much of if you got any increase in your Social Security check, or if you got a big lump sum, put some of it away, most of it away, and only use it for emergencies.
Right. Right.
And here's why. I don't want to scare anyone,
right.
but we don't know what may happen under this new president.
That's
He
right.
may ask for it back.
Oh
no.
Oh no.
My mom at one time didn't get any of her Social Security check because they said they overpaid her. And she went 13 months without getting
Without
Social
a
Security
check.
check.
Oh wow.
Because they said they needed to, because with my daddy's death and they had overpaid her, and for 13 months she didn't get a Social
She didn't
Security
get a Social
check.
Security. And it's hard.
Now, so this time, what I advised her is to put some of that away, so that if you
case
have
of
any
rainy
more
day.
surprises
Right.
with Social Security,
Just never
right.
know.
you won't go there looking for your check and it's not
And
there,
it's
and you get a
not
letter
there.
saying that you're not getting it because you were overpaid.
Right.
We can go into the account and say, "Here, government,
And that-
take this, take what I owe you. I put it away."
And that's a good point, because this money they're getting is something that the Biden administration did. So
Absolutely.
you never know what will happen.
That's exactly right.
All right, Doc, let's take another call.
By the way, someone posted in there to encourage seniors to become election commissioners.
Yeah.
That's a great job.
a great job.
That's a great job. So go to your local registered voters office or clerk of court's office, and that's a great job for you all to become election commissioners.
you know
And it's not
that.
volunteer work; they pay.
They pay.
They pay.
And all they doing is checking IDs and eating donuts.
Checking IDs, eating donuts.
Packing all day.
That's a great job for seniors.
That
So whoever
is.
put that in the comments,
That's
great
right.
great comment.
That's right. Okay.
Hello, thank you for calling the Lotus Zone. This is Tasha and Trudy and Dr. Gilmore. Do you have a question or a comment?
Well, yes, I do have something to say.
Okay, who
my
we
name.
speaking with?
Okay, my name is Josephine Jackson.
Hey, Miss
and
Jackson.
I've been, hi, and I really been listening to everything that they have been saying, and then one thing about it I didn't doing, and then they say with the voting right, people work have to stop voting,
Right.
and I am a commissioner.
You're a commissioner?
And-
All right.
Yes, I am, and whenever I get my balance in, I always get letter in balance, and then I have to. One time I missed from giving my mother last name, so I had to go downtown, and then I had to get
Yes.
her name straight,
Yes. Yep.
and everything worked out really, really good.
All right. Well, Miss
And I-
Jackson, we appreciate you calling, and we got you some Bath and Body Works for your house, and thank you for calling. And we got you. What's this? A wallflower.
Yeah, a good smelling wallflower.
What center you at, Miss Jackson?
I used to go to the center in Gus Young because I had been I've been under the weather.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of bath and oral.
You do?
You know.
All right,
Yeah, I
we're
have a
gonna
lot
get
of
you a
that.
Lotus Zone T-shirt, okay? This
Okay.
you plug in the wall. But look, we're gonna send you this and a Lotus Zone T-shirt, and you can get it at your center, or we'll get it delivered to your center, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
Dr. Gilmore, in one of the comments,
They did.
seniors was asking about the real ID.
Yeah.
Can
Okay.
you explain that, please?
Yes. So, seniors, after May 7th, okay, which is a couple weeks away, right?
That's right.
Time is moving fast. If you want to get on an airplane to go anywhere in the country to visit a child, a grandchild, a friend, a relative, you are required to have a real ID. It is a different form of your regular driver's license or ID. It is a different type of identification. It's supposed to be more secure. This came about as a discussion in law after 9/11. It just
Right.
took this many years to actually enforce and implement.
Right.
But it's an additional security endeavor. It's supposed to have something inside the ID in order to ensure that you are, you know what I mean, safe to to live in this country.
Okay.
And so after May 7th, if you do,
is it free?
no, it's $35.
What?
$35.
And so and that's after May 7th if you want to travel. And that's if you don't already have a passport.
Right.
If you have a passport, you can use your passport to travel.
For a period of time. Well, eventually they want everybody to
I
have
would
it, right?
I would assume that knowing our government,
Right.
eventually
Right,
they're going to
eventually.
say you need a real ID period to travel.
Right.
For those of you all who may think that you don't need a real ID because you won't be getting on an airplane, this is what I told someone: you just never know when you may have
never
to,
know. That's right.
and you'd
That's
rather
right.
have it
Then not.
than not.
Right.
Now, some of the people that I've been talking to about it, it's much quicker to go get a passport, unfortunately,
It is.
to apply, and it takes 30 days, 60 days to
Right.
get in the
That's
mail.
Right.
But you can go to the clerk of court's office, you can go to the post office downtown and apply for a passport. That's if you don't plan on flying after May 7th.
Right.
Because
Okay.
your passport won't be here in time if you plan on flying after May 7th.
Right.
But folks are choosing the passport because I have attempted to go to the Office of
DMV?
Motor Vehicle at least 5 times in the past 30 days
Wow.
to take care of
Couple of things.
car-related stuff. And when I get there, it's easily a 2 to 4 hour wait.
Oh.
And so people are choosing not to get the real ID, not because they don't want it, but because they don't have 5 hours in their day
That's
to wait.
right.
Got it. Got
And
it.
so some of those folks I've directed to go get their passports,
Yeah.
especially if they know they won't be traveling.
Right.
And what you do now is you schedule an appointment
Okay.
for the DMV. So what I did after my 4th attempt, I went home, got online to the Louisiana Department of Motor Vehicles. Unfortunately, my appointment is 4 weeks away.
Ooh.
So the only available appointment, this was a week and a half ago, was May 13th.
Let me tell you something, and
Wow.
that's so unfair because seniors, they not getting on a website trying to
And
get in a
making an
queue to
appointment.
get in an appointment.
Yeah.
They gonna
Yeah.
have to. We're gonna have to get them, Dr. Gilmore, to do better. And then I gotta go through all these loops and hoops, and then still give you my Confederate money, that my hard-earned money that the Social Security had to send to me. Then I gotta pay you for giving me inconvenience. I don't
And
like
I ain't
that.
even told you what you got to have to
I
do a
just
real
about to say,
ID.
What you
the
gotta
the
have? Your
required
birth
Your
documents.
original birth
Yes.
certificate, original Social Security card, and you have to bring 2 forms of two documents that show you live at your current residence,
Yes.
and they all must be the same. So in my case,
Okay.
I have a couple residences.
Right.
My driver's license is for one of those residences. Where I'm currently living at is a different address. I would, with all those different addresses and residences
Oh yeah.
on my driver's license, I would be denied a real ID.
Okay.
Everything has to have the same
Has to be
exact
the same.
address.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
'Cause they don't just want to verify who you are.
They want
to verify where you
been
live.
and where you live.
Where you
Oh,
live.
God.
So you got to have 2 forms of pieces of mail that show your current address, and it must match your driver's license.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Wow, that's ridiculous.
All of that.
Well, Doc, before we run out of time,
And it's sad that we're at this point
It is.
in our lifetime, because the seniors that you serve have served for decades,
That's it. That's
being
it.
model citizens,
Right.
working hard, saving,
That's
right.
earn their Social Security.
Right,
Now
right.
for it to be a threat, and now they have a lot more complex things they have to do. But the wonderful part about this is that they have the Council on Aging as a resource
That's it.
of
Call us.
information
Call us.
to help them navigate.
Well,
right.
Miss Alma Gather says you need the real ID to get into federal buildings also. And then Mr. Mark over from the Perkins Road Center says, who's going to teach us how to use the computer to sign in the screening thing at the center? I don't have a card, and where do I get a card? Okay,
maybe that's
Mr.
something
Mark,
you-
we're going to do a class.
Schedule appointments.
We're
Even
gonna
if you
schedule a class.
even if you just schedule
Schedule
time when you help
appointments.
people go online and schedule an
Schedule
appointment
appointment, yeah.
and say you go to Port Allen
Yes,
on
that's a great
June
idea.
1 at this time, and that's
then-
only for those who want the real ID.
And Miss Bernadine said, and you have to bring your marriage license if you're married.
Oh, see,
with your birth
Oh.
certificate.
oh, see,
Because
in my case,
for
I'm
women,
single,
your
so-
name changes.
Ah.
Right? So then
That's
you got to
right.
bring
Yeah,
it.
all that stuff. Yes, she's
Yeah,
right. I did
she's
hear
right.
someone say
Yeah.
that, like, your Trudy Bim Howard,
Right.
Yeah.
your driver's license has to
Them
say
say
that.
that,
Your
right.
mail has to say that.
And your social
wow.
security
And all
card.
that has to say that.
That's
Oh, wow.
right. That's
Anything is different. they're not going to give
They're
you
not
one.
gonna give
So,
you
so
one.
Dr. Gilmore, before we
We'll have to do a second show
we're
on
gonna have to do
local and state politics.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about the millage, the Council on Aging millage. We're gonna talk about that briefly, and then what
Okay.
we'll do is, because we tight for time, we're gonna go through the comments and we're gonna pick some names and we're gonna give out the stuff like that.
Let's give out some prizes.
We're gonna give out the
Yes.
prizes. Who
Thank
wanna
you
pick?
all for tuning in.
Right, right. So
Yes.
now let me get your thoughts on the Council on Aging's millage and our potential renewal a year early. The Council on Aging, the library, mosquito abatement, and then now the alimony tax. What's your thoughts on that?
First of all, I want to say I'm sorry that you are having to go through this
tell me
pain
about it.
underneath this new mayor
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
city council.
Yeah,
But it ain't pain that we ain't used to,
that's right.
What
Okay. and it ain't pain that's not worth it.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, every fight we fight for the seniors is worth it.
It's worth
That's
it.
right.
And it looks like, I'm not sure, it looks like your millage may be on the ballot in November.
In November,
according
that's right.
to if the city council supports it this November 2025.
Right.
If
right.
it is on the ballot, as was the library on the ballot, I'm
Right.
telling you right now, I'm voting to support the Council on Aging tax renewal and the library tax renewal because in my heart, seniors and children matter most.
That's right.
Ooh, that's right.
And
Doc.
so I'm all about the senior tax millage in November, and I'm all about the library tax millage
Okay.
in November.
But you don't like mosquitoes, though, right?
Well, I support the mosquito tax. You're absolutely right, but I just want to get it straight where I stand
Yeah,
on,
okay.
on those two.
On the
Right,
two.
right,
Okay.
right.
Anything else, I'm not supporting on
You're
the
not
ballot.
supporting
By the way, you know you have an election in May here also.
Okay, when is
May
that?
3rd.
May 3rd.
Hilla Moore has a tax on the ballot.
Okay.
A crime tax, huh? What is the tax?
yeah, what is it?
Because I really don't know.
A lot of people really don't know.
Right.
And so I'm sure he has people watching this.
Yeah.
Mr. DA, could you do a little better job at communicating the tax you want us to support on May 3rd? Because an educated tax base
Right, right.
is a powerful tax base.
that's
And so
right, Doc.
I can't speak for Hilla Moore and the tax that and I want to challenge anyone else that knows to come on your show to educate our seniors.
Okay.
Right, right. That's good information. And
Yeah.
and we don't I don't know. He was at SALT today actually. And so I do not know, and he
Because
didn't.
you didn't let him, yeah.
Right,
we
well,
don't do
'cause you
politics.
we don't do politics.
No,
we
not
got
at
a
all.
513 seat. But my question is, he was meeting and greeting with the seniors, but I don't think he had an opportunity to explain to them
Right.
exactly what it is. And one thing that we do know, and you and I both know, is the seniors is the voting block that
Yes,
you need to educate.
consistent voting block.
Chronic voters, and so I don't know what
And
the
don't
tax
take them for
is.
granted.
And don't take
And
them
so,
and don't use them
right.
either.
And so hopefully he or someone from his staff can come on
That's right.
and explain what it is. I'm sure it's to deter crime
Yeah.
in some way, but I don't want to speak on behalf of him or his office. But
Right.
on May 3rd, we have an election.
So-
but in November,
Right. Well,
it's all about Council on Aging and Library for me.
So, Dr.
I don't know if
Gilmore-
everybody heard me say that,
Yeah,
but
we
go
heard
ahead.
you.
Okay.
On May 14th, which is a Wednesday, we, the Council on Aging, the library, Mosquito, we all have to go to a public hearing about our millages at the Metro Council office. So, seniors, we may be calling some of you advisory board members for sure. We want you to get with us, but we're gonna have to go to the Metro Council as it relates to our millage. Now, here's the thing. As you know, our millage is not up for renewal this
Right,
year.
right.
It's up for renewal in 2026. But what the city is asking us to do is to come along
Asking,
with them.
or did they make y'all? Okay. So did the city say the seniors vote? So let's put them on the ballot in November with all these other taxes because we know the seniors are going to go vote. So they asked you, but they kind of told you too. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right, and so what? You got me thrown off. So we going to the Metro Council meeting on the Courtney Hunt is in the comments, and she says, I guess that's Hiller's tax is to get more staff to deal with backlogs. I guess the DA's office has a big backlog, according to her. But
Okay.
but maybe Dr. Gilmore, you can get, because we know you have a great podcast and radio show, and maybe you can get him because
On
it's
my
more
show.
political
Yeah.
Right.
on
And
your
we don't
show.
wanna- okay,
and I don't
gotcha.
want to cross the
Yeah.
lines, but get him on your show so we can get an explanation and then you share with us.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
Gotcha.
But as far
Because I'm all about fighting crime, but I'm
That's
also
it.
all about justice.
right. That's
And we
right.
don't need money to put more people in jail.
Right.
We need money
right.
to educate,
Right.
to feed our seniors, and so
That's
that's why I say I can't speak on behalf.
Right.
But
right.
I like to be an informed voter,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to go in there and vote on the tax May 3rd, and nobody's told me what they're going to do with it, because
Right.
I'm not going to support a tax just because it's a tax.
Right.
I support the senior tax because I see that you serve 8 million seniors.
Yeah.
Right.
Meals.
Right.
That you have an intergenerational center where senior what he wants on May 3rd.
Right. Right. Well, we let's
And
get
Courtney Hunt ain't no senior, but I'm glad that she watching.
Yeah, I'm glad. Hey, Courtney, that's the president of 100 Black
that's
Women.
right, that's
That's
right.
right. But look, so we want to thank you, Dr. Gilmore, for coming in. Seniors, you're going to get more information as it
Yeah.
relates to the day that we go to the Metro Council.
That's right.
And as it relates to our millage. And let me just say this. I know other folks got things going on, but what's most important to us
That's right.
is to seniors and making sure that we get to keep
Yes.
our activities
Our
going
one-
and libraries,
That's
because
right.
seniors read books. And so those are some
And
critical
seniors
things.
have grandkids
And
and
seniors have grandkids
who read books.
That's right. And anytime we have an activity, an event, the library is always there to support.
Very
So let's
supportive.
pick a couple of names in here. How about Mr. Mark, because he killed me, at Perkins. Mr. Mark, we have a package of men's bath and body work for
nice,
you.
nice.
Perkins Center.
The Perkins Road Senior
Yeah.
Center. James, pick somebody up there. Let's see. What about
Who's Miss Joyce Grant?
Miss Joyce Grant? All
Yeah,
right.
she already got the early voting dates in there. Go
All
ahead.
right, congratulations.
So yeah.
Miss Joyce Grant, we're going to give you, how about this food processor?
All right, Miss Joyce.
Joyce.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we got you down. And then let's give Miss Carolyn Wooten. Do you have a ring doorbell? If not, you got one
That's
today.
great for security.
Oh,
For security.
That's
Security,
right,
for
that's
security.
right.
And what about, come on, Trudy.
We got a Fitbit.
We got a Fitbit. We
All
got
right.
a Fitbit. How about we give a Fitbit to Miss Booker? You got a Fitbit, Miss Jared Booker. You
All
get
right.
a Fitbit. We keeping up with your steps. We're gonna keep up with your
Who was
steps.
that, Miss Carolyn Wooten?
Miss Carolyn
Has she
Wooten?
won?
Let's give
She
us-
got a great comment.
All right.
Let's give Miss Carolyn Wooten
Got the,
something.
ring
We just
doorbell.
gave Miss
Okay, the
Carolyn
ring.
Wooten.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
All right. Dr.
Yeah.
Gilmore, we got pots and we got a tablet. We're gonna
Wow.
do those two last things.
Pots.
What about somebody up earlier in the comments? Yep. Did I see Ernestine Jackson? Yeah, she said
You
I come
did.
every day.
Yeah, she did.
We get Miss Ernestine Jackson. We're gonna give Miss Jackson. Let's give her these stainless steel pots.
All right.
Miss Jackson, you got the pots. Now Dr. Gilmore, pick somebody out of
Miss
there.
Linda Chesterfield Banks.
All right.
All
Miss Banks, you got the
right.
Galaxy tablet. You got the
Yeah.
Galaxy
Right.
tablet.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Linda. Thank you all seniors
Yes,
for tuning in.
congratulations.
Dr. Gilmore, we want to thank you every time you
This has
come.
been wonderful.
You a breath of
Very
knowledge. It's so good to
informative.
have smart folks that's
It's so good.
connected.
I'm glad to
you
have
all.
smart folks like you all in my life too.
And we thank and appreciate
Yes,
you.
thank
And
you.
we're gonna ask you to come back again. And maybe during these
I
times.
want to eat crawfish.
Okay, we got you down
Okay,
for
all
crawfish.
right.
We got you down for crawfish, but maybe Dr. Gilmore, we can get you like a once a month. I
Or
know
every
you
couple of
busy.
months.
Or every couple.
Yeah, every couple of months.
You're welcome to the
Every couple of
zone.
months.
Yeah,
to the
I really
zone.
enjoyed
Yes.
this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, we
I
appreciate
really
it.
enjoyed this.
Thank you, seniors. Look,
Thank
don't
you.
forget, go to your senior center. You're going to get your
Surprise,
special
surprise.
ticket. Get on it for Thursday. We got crawfish for you if you are a regular. Do not call your friends.
VIPs.
VIP, they don't go to the centers, all right? If you go to the senior center, we got a special
You
treat
already
for
have a
you.
list of those people.
Mr. Mark, you're welcome, and we're gonna get with you over at Perkins to get you a class so we can get you signed up for your ID. And hopefully, what is that? Oh, that's the case. It's the case to give them a case.
Yeah.
And hopefully, here shortly, Dr. Gilmore give us some help and assistance on getting some assistance with the real IDs. But we're gonna keep that
we
on
need
the
to.
wrap.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, seniors, y'all have a great day. We appreciate y'all. Bye-bye. All right.